All right, guys, before we continue with today's video, I just wanted to sit down and talk really quick about Opposition Games. They are my newest sponsors. They have all of the top meta cards on their shop. You guys can check them out. And if you guys want to buy anything that is Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Magic, of course, you guys can get 5% off using Savage5, my affiliate code. So make sure you guys check them out. The link will be down in the description.
All right, duelists, we are back with our third round. Again, there is going to be a lunch break at some point too, so we'll let you know in advance, but there might be a little bit of a longer break coming up. But that said, we have a real treat for you. We literally have two very interesting decks that we haven't seen before on the stream, at least not in their pure form. So we're going to go and swipe on over the table just so you guys can see that, and switch on down. Again, players are just getting themselves ready in a beautiful Amazement Arlecchino mat there from the OTS Championship, as well as looks like a wonderful regional championship mat of Promethean Princess, the Bestower of Flames. Just really neat to see the logos there. Again, you can always participate in the official tournament store championships to get that same mat, that Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames mat that you're seeing in a different sort of logo there, just to let people know, hey, you're not just the regional champion, hey, you're also your official tournament store champion as well. Now, the decks that we're going to be playing here, and you might have seen as the players are shuffling here, is Deidrian is going to be playing Dinomorphia, and we haven't seen Dinomorphia in quite a while. It did make top 16 at Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Philadelphia last year, but it's been pretty quiet since then. His opponent will be playing Kashtira. Now, I do know we had Kashtira on the field before, but we didn't have it quite like this. This is going to be a much more concerned, concentric Kashtira deck, and it's not necessarily going to be playing all the fun things that we got to see from Emmanuel's deck, which were the Destiny Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix Forcer, Adventures, etc. We're going to go and roll the dice here, though. Looks like we rolled an 8, and players are getting ready to begin here. So we can see those Kashtira cards up top. That means that's going to be... looks like Brian, and then Deidrian on the bottom. Reading the deck lists, handwriting, and it can be difficult sometimes. But what's not difficult is starting off with Dinomorphia Teresia. Gonna go ahead and take a look here. That is the Starlight Rare copy, by the way, too. So very serious about Dinomorphia there. We did see the Dimension Shifter, so of course all cards are going to be banished instead of going to the graveyard for the next turn or so. Taking a second to think here, what you're able to do is set a Dinomorphia trap card. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Dinomorphia strategy, they pay their life points by half to get powerful effects, and they literally keep doing it. So the lower your life points go, technically the further you're ahead in the duel, kind of like the Gold Pride strategy where you want to pay and pay and pay. The difference here is, though, is this is a very trap-centric strategy that only can really get its turn going during your opponent's main phase 1. And that can be difficult to play through. Again, Dinomorphia has to wait for the opponent to make a single move before actually getting to do what it wants to do. Now take a look at the Dinomorphia Frenzy there. That allows you to fuse by sending Dinomorphia monsters from your deck and extra deck to the graveyard. It is going to allow us to probably bring out a Dinomorphia Rexterm. Rexterm is just a really gigantic boss monster that not only is cool, but also has a powerful effect to prevent your opponent from activating the effects of monsters who attack is at or higher than your life points. So if you're paying half really, really fast, all of a sudden, very similar to the effect of the Sky Crisis, Typhon, it literally can prevent your opponent from even getting into the game. And we've got 4 set cards there. Now remember, we are going to have some banishing here, but before we do, say hello to our primeval planet, Retsa. And we're going to go ahead and get into the deck. Now, again, it's going to be interesting to see. We're not really going to see very many spells from one side of the duel. We're pretty much going to see all spells from the other. So it'll be time to see which color reigns supreme, right? The pink cards or the green cards. We are going to go ahead and flip. Maybe. Yes, we're going to Rexturn. So it is fusion time, but it looks like we're going to Ash Blossom. It does send cards from the deck to the graveyard, so Ash Blossom would be able to negate that effect, preventing Rexturn from appearing on the field and locking things out. But we got a Solemn Strike that. So at first, we paid $4,000. Now we're paying $1,500. Most duelists would be afraid to be at $2,500 this early in the duel, but again, Dinomorphia wants to do that. So we're going to go ahead and banish the Dinomorphia Diplos. Of course, it's getting banished because of Dimension Shifter, and that's a little bit of a shame. You want your Dinomorphias in the graveyard. They do a great job of relinking. I would imagine you'd probably use Stealth Bergia as your other material, and yes, that is Stealth Bergia getting banished now. So Likely going right into Rex Term. Finally, Rex Term is here. Now, 2,500 life points means what? We just went over this, students of Duel Academy. It means that the opponent cannot activate effects if the attack of the monster is 2,500 attack or higher. So equal to your life points or lower. Also, you can pay half your life points with Rex Term to just make the attack of all of your opponent's monsters become equal to your life points. So that means that they couldn't do it. Excuse me, greater than equal to your life points. We want to make sure that we got that effect right. But we're going to have that Ash Blossom banished. Judge doing a great job of making sure the game state is preserved well. But we are going to go right into the Pot of Prosperity for 6 there. Going to go ahead and grab a lot of different options there. Triple Tactics Talent probably feels nice. The Kashtira Unicorn is not going to be able to activate its effect already because it is 2,500 attack. So 2,500 life points and Rex Term would be locking it for being able to grab any Kashtira spells there. You already have a Kashtira Fenrir. Looks like maybe another Unicorn in the hand. So perhaps you do want to grab the Kashtira Theosis so you just have something you can do. So we'll stack the rest of the cards down there at the bottom of the deck. So it looks like we are going to have Kashtira Fenrir come out. It is 2,400. But we could have half the life points being paid by Rex Term to reduce it down immediately. And that might be the right way to go. It would just kind of lock this turn out. Certainly there's some powerful spells, and maybe you could get out an Xyz monster that didn't have that many attack points, so maybe it could use a powerful effect. But other than Kashtira, Shangri-Ira, most of the commonly used Xyz monsters in a Kashtira deck are powerful. So it looks like we are going to use Rex Term. Means we should be paying half the life points, put us at a cool 1,250. And that's very difficult to get out of. Rex Term, certainly, when Dinomorphia goes first, it's difficult to deal with because you're locked out of all the fun effects that you showed up to the duel planning to use. Let's go ahead and minus 1,250. Beep, 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 beep. And so now, Brian really has to figure out what he's going to do here because there's not really a lot of options. Certainly has a body on the field, but that body is reduced down to 1,250 attack. Now, the Rate Sod is going to increase the attack power for the different attributes on the field there, and there are 2 different attributes. But that's probably not going to be enough, right? 1,450 is good enough for maybe a level 4 monster, but for a level 7 trying to fight off things, it's not really going to take the cake. Taking a quick look at the Banished here just to see what it is we've lost. Again, not too much there. The Dimension Shifter's in the graveyard. But while discarding Dimension Shifter definitely started the game off well, it really didn't slow things down. And again, we've described this as a format where you can't just activate 1 power card to seal your opponent from the duel. It really needs to be 2 or more. Maybe a Dimension Shifter and a Droll and Lockbird. Not that that would be too much help here. We did see Dimension Shifter and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That wasn't enough either. Certainly telegraphing that Nibiru with the token face up. But again, Dinomorphia doesn't really summon that many monsters, usually about 2 to 3 in a single turn at best. Could definitely do the Kashtira Theosis, maybe put out the Kashtira Shangri-Ira as a defensive strategy, but it's like so far so good. Might be turning over to Deidrean. Taking a look at that face down card. Let's go ahead and flip that. It's going to be Dinomorphia Domain. So now we're going to just be fusing from the deck by paying half. 625, yeah, that would be the correct math. And so going to be fusing. And now the graveyard's finally safe. So we'll send Teresia. And this is only sending from the deck. So Teresia and Diplos are finally going to hit the graveyard. Certainly do have some powerful effects themselves, being able to do a little bit of burn damage with Dinomorphia Diplos. And Teresia obviously able to get those cards set to the field when it shows up. Here's our Dinomorphia Kentrigina. Now its power is 4,000, but it is reduced for every life point you have over that. So it should be, I want to say, 3,775, maybe 3,375. Some crazy math that we get when you pay your life points half by half by half. But again, it does lose attack equal to your life points. So it'd be 4,000 minus 625. But just a really stellar field shows you that once Dinomorphia jumps into the game, this is their city. It is their domain. Looks like Rex Term is going to be using its effect again, paying down to 300, and I think it actually should be 13. There we go. Yes, 313. Because you round up, That does mean when you get to 1 life point, you almost have infinite effects because you pay half of a life point, round up, and you get to keep 1 life point. So now that means monsters whose attack is 313 or higher cannot activate their effects. So Kentragina is going to come in hot there. Very difficult to get out of the situation. Now, certainly there's some great power spells like Dark Ruler No More that could get you in the game, but technically speaking, Dinomorphia also has spell and trap-based spell and trap negation. So the Dark Ruler No More may not be that much of an issue. Looks like we're trying to use the effect here. Perhaps not, just doing some simple math, making sure that maybe this duel is or isn't over. Trying to ask, I think, if you can use the Kashtira Fenrir. We don't have access to player audio, but the Kashtira Fenrir's activation does seem to be an issue. Making sure that we get the life points up there, possibly because of the attack increase from the Planetary Planet Race Saw. It looks like the duel is done. Seems like we are packing our cards up there. So I think that's all she wrote. Brian thought he had seen enough, knew what was coming, wasn't going to be able to do too much more there. Going to go ahead and reset, but don't reset the timer. Don't want to lose our time on the round. We still have 9 minutes and 35 seconds there on the clock, which means we're effectively counting up to 45 minutes. So just about 35 minutes left on the clock. Players got a few minutes to side deck. Looks like we're going to be taking a look at some cards there, maybe taking out just a little bit. Rate Salt's got to stay in. Cosmic Cyclones would certainly be helpful. Also allows you to reduce your own life points. So maybe it's not as detrimental, right? That's the weird thing, is that playing against Dinomorphia is almost a race to the bottom. One of my favorite duels I've ever had in my lifetime was playing as Gold Pride against Dinomorphia, and we were literally just trying to outpay each other's life points, right? No, I'm at 500. Now I'm down to 300. Well, I'm down to 200. But probably not going to be seeing the same race to the bottom here, obviously, with the Kashtira strategy. It's like a couple of cards are coming out. Those Cosmic Cyclones would be really good right now. See if they end up making an appearance in the duel. Did see a Droll and Lockbird there. Not necessarily a threat against Dinomorphia. Again, they set their cards from the deck. They send their cards to the graveyard. They don't actually do a lot of adding cards to the hand, which is why the deck can feel really, like, chunky, if that makes sense. If it maybe hasn't been stirred enough to make it smooth and easier to play. It does kind of sometimes feel like, oh, man, I was hoping for something different, but I bit into another trap card. I needed to get something else. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up. Again, Deidre taking the first duel with Dinomorphia is really cool. Again, there's just so many cool decks out there. I haven't got to see all of his cool cards. Again, running significant amounts of trap cards. This is, I mean, you don't usually see lists like this, which are predominantly all traps outside of things like Altergeist or Labyrinth. And trap control decks really are a thing. Hopefully this inspires some duelists at home to say, okay, your Fire Kings are nice, but are they ready for the old ways? The old ways are still good. All right, looks like we're going to go ahead and get 5 cards off the top here. And Brian might be taking the duel first here. Just taking a chance to get the Kashtira set up before those trap cards hit the board. Now, there is a difference, by the way. Look at how many spell cards in the hand. It does look like the Cosmic Cyclones did come in. We're going to start with our Pot of Prosperity. Banishing 6, and doesn't look like Deidre has anything to stop it. So are we going in? Maybe time to reveal some cards. Not going to chain anything. Could we chain something? All right, players having a good smile between each other. Talking about all the different card combinations there, but not quite sure what's going on with our Pot of Prosperity here. Probably will be resolved soon. There we go. Let's take a look at Kashtira Scareclaw, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, Triple Tactics Talent, Solemn Judgment, another Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and Kashtira Riseheart going straight into the hand. That Solemn Judgment would have been pretty good, though. Being able to pay half your life points get even lower than your Dinomorphia opponent, and negate their counter traps as well. Looks like we're going the Rise Heart. We're going to banish 3 cards off the top. Maybe you're only locked into Exceed summons with Kashtira Rise Heart if you special summon it via its own effect. Not so here. Going to go ahead and banish a single copy of Kashtira Fenrir. Looks like we got rid of a trap of some kind, maybe 2 other cards, but those are going face down. Are going to set down the Kashtira Birth, use the effect of the Kashtira Birth to special summon Kashtira Unicorn in defense mode. Use its effect to go ahead and grab Kashtira Theosis from the deck to the hand. Obviously don't need Kashtira Birth, you got it on the field. Going to select Kashtira Unicorn, being able to special summon the Kashtira monster of a different attribute, so something not wind. Well, there's something not wind. We've got Kashtira Fenrir, the Earth monster, going to use its effects. Are we going for just the full combo here? Kashtira Scareclaw, obviously another great Earth monster, and a great way to negate the effects of your opponent. That is going to be a continuous effect that's applied. Might be able to get through Rex turn. So we'll combine those two. Remember, the Kashtira Rise Heart is level 7. So Kashtira Shangra Ira hits the field. And it might be time to do some zone locking. Oh, but Wannabe hits the field. Wannabe, of course, neat little Cyberse monster that came out, I would say, in Cyberstorm Access. And always really neat to see it. Again, its effect is you can send the card from the hand to the graveyard, excavate cards from the top deck equal the number of the unused spell and trap zones. And then you can send an excavated trap to your field. So really good for Dinomorphia. Allows it to get a trap onto the field and then be able to set that so that when you begin your opponent or begin your own turn, now it's a live card. So you're not just entering the duel with nothing to speak of. So if you want to be a Dinomorphia duelist, you got to get with Wannabe. And yes, that was the Spice Girls joke you thought it was. Now we are going to see Cosmic Cyclone paying 1,000 life points to try to stop that card. And looks like we are saying goodbye to Ferret Flames. Well, didn't get to use it, but 1,000 life points were dealt nonetheless. But now there's not too much points of interaction there. Do see another Kashtira Unicorn hitting the field. Obviously, 2 sets are pretty strong. Most Dinomorphia duelists don't think we got a good, clean look at the extra deck, but usually run more than 1 copy of their traditional fusions. So for that reason, Kashtira Unicorn isn't going to be as strong here as it might be against a branded player where there's maybe just a bunch of one-ofs, or earlier in the tournament we saw Guardian Chimera just get, well, laid to waste. We're going to have our Dinomorphia Diplos slammed down on the field. Might be sending a Dinomorphia trap card now from the graveyard, or to the graveyard. Cool thing about the Dinomorphia trap cards, many of them have 2 types of effects in the graveyard. Sometimes you can banish in order to stop the damage, battle damage. Sometimes you can stop effect damage. Or what's also neat is you can copy the effects of certain trap cards in the graveyard, which is how you can use Kentrigina to bring out Rex turn. Taking a look here at the massive pile of extra deck here. Thinking what we're going to do with the effect of Kashtira Unicorn, obviously since Diplos activated its effect. Looks like we'll say goodbye to 1 Rex turn, but it looks like there was at least another Rex turn left. So it's not the end, but at least he's starting to fight back. Ryan passing the deck back over there. Deidrian certainly has his work cut out for him. Got really great zone blockers, just matching up the very traditional look of dual monster cards from the anime. And really smart to lock up those last spell and trap zones means that you got to do whatever you're going to do right there. Again, Kashtira Fenrir banishing the Diplos and Kashtira Unicorn banishing the extra deck Rex turn. So that would be 2 zone locks. Chain Link 1 and Chain Link 2. But looks like we're going to go back into the deck here. Grabbing a Kashtira Rise Heart with the effect of Kashtira Fenrir. Deidrian taking a look at that card all the way over there. I mean, you almost want to hold on to your spell and traps so you can activate them during your own turn and still have the ability to set new ones. It is going to be pretty difficult because, hey, at this rate, Deidrian's playing a speed duel. Only has 3 spell and trap zones to work with. So looks like Brian doing a little bit of math. taking a look at the life points that are on the giant screen above each of our duelist heads. Game guys, again, doing a great job of just setting up a beautiful environment for the players here. But we're going to pay half our life points, and it's time for Dinomorphia Domain. So let's fuse from the deck, setting Dinomorphia Teresia. And Dinomorphia Diplos. There's Diplos. So taking a second to shuffle up, I imagine we're going to see Kashtira. However, remember, Kashtira, it's not going to be that strong because Kashtira loses attack points equal to your life points and is 4,000 attack. 4,000 minus 4,000, you heard me, it's 0. But getting even closer now. And looks like because we have reached a standby phase, remember that just happened in draw phase, we're going to be special summoning an additional copy. Oh, no, okay, looks like we passed after the Kashtira. So Deidre taking a quick look at the graveyard. Going to go ahead and copy the effect there, banishing the effect of Rexturn. Just taking a quick look there. Not every day you see Dinomorphia. Like I said, the last time I saw this at the top tables was in, well, earlier last year around May. So it's been pretty long. It's been about 10 months since it last struck a stream. But yes, Kashtira, paying half the life points, banishing that normal trap at the graveyard, and the effect becomes that trap. So 2,000 life points also means that Kashtira is now 2,000 attack. Now, it's not impossible for Deidre to be able to work his way completely back through this army of Kashtira monsters. But in order to do so, you probably are going to need to get out that beautiful Rexturn. We did see, there it is. So now, all those Kashtira monsters on the field that have more than 2,000 attack, or even had 2,000 attack, cannot activate their effects, but that does nothing to stop Kashtira Riseheart because of how small it is. Deidre must be saying something funny. Even the judge had to have a laugh at that one. Good Spirits understands, even with the difficulty there, it's a little difficult. Might have passed turn player priority, perhaps, and noticed that the Rexturn could have activated its effect in the open game state and prevented that Kashtira Riseheart from doing any of that. But maybe didn't want to do it. Maybe didn't want to get down to 1,000 life points. Pretty dangerous at this side of the duel. Now, Kashtira Angra Ira is going to activate its effect, locking another zone there. It means that, hey, the only trap effects we might see might be from Kashtira banishing from the graveyard. Now, Kashtira Angra Ira is traditionally 0 attack, so not going to be an issue even with the raid slot. Paying 1,000 life points there to make every monster be the same. It's going to be 1,000 attack each, and the issue is then that you cannot activate any effects if your life points are greater than or equal to, excuse me, your attack points of the monster are greater than or equal to the monster. But, that tongue twister aside, we were going to see Triple Tactics talent, but now you're seeing Dinomorphia Sonic. And that is going to negate a spell or trap. Again, that Solemn Judgment might have been the better play there, because you again could have paid your own life points and stopped some of these counter traps. So, Triple Tactics talent isn't going to do anything there. However, Dinomorphia Sonic is going to destroy Dinomorphia Kashtira. And then Dinomorphia Kashtira is going to be able to bring back Dinomorphia Teresia. And Dinomorphia Teresia's effect is going to activate to be able to set one of those Dinomorphia trap cards. Now, this will be pretty telling of how far we want to get in this game. Again, 500 life points. It's a race to the bottom. But the faster you get, the lower you get, the better off you are as a Dinomorphia duelist. Definitely have to look at that Rexturn another time. It is a crazy card. It seems really, really good to be overlooked. Looks like we might have set a Dinomorphia Frenzy. Oh no, Dinomorphia Alert. Okay. So we might see 2 monsters whose total levels equal level 8 or less, special something from the graveyard. That could just be Kashtira. So making plans for the future for sure. Paying half would be 250, and then pay another half, be 125. Looks like we are going to swing into action here. Thinking about what we're doing, not sure, but looks like Kashtira Unicorn will remain in attack mode. Going to attempt to attack. It is a monster, though, that has attack points that are higher than those life points. And again, they cannot activate the effect. So it's really just is what it is. Now, it is true that the Kashtira Scareclaw, if a Kashtira monster battles with it, would negate those effects. But it's not going to change that until damage calculation, because, again, we do have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Judge on hand, thank goodness. But you shouldn't be able to, if my calculations are correct, do the banishing with the Fenrir. Take a quick look at our Kashtira Scareclaw just to make sure. Oh, if it's in battles, it's not damage calculation, so it would be able to activate that effect. Very cool. So definitely a legal move, and definitely a good way to get rid of Rexterm. However, now that the monster's gone, you can go ahead and bring out Diplos. Diplos and Ceresia to the graveyard. Should be 500 damage to the opponent for sending a trap card to the grave. And you can send one of those Dinomorphia spell or trap cards, to be able to banish it to reduce battle damage to 0. There's that 500. Again, interesting way just to do a little bit more damage. Taking a look at Dinomorphia Diplos. It's not every day that you see Dinomorphia again. It's really neat to see it making its way through this 10-round tournament. Again, we're only in round 3. Hey, but if you love Yu-Gi-Oh!, you picked a great stream to be watching today. It looks like we are going to send a Dinomorphia Sonic to the graveyard. I believe Dinomorphia Sonic does include that effect to banish it from the graveyard in order to reduce the next battle damage you take to 0. And that's really helpful. That is one of the ways that Dinomorphia duelists can actually stay in the game. Because if not, well, they'd be reducing their life points down. Somebody would say, haha, take this, Gaga Cowboy effect. Not so, though. Dinomorphia comes with an insurance plan on all of those wonderful buildings in its domain. Asking a little bit of a question here, just making sure that we have a full understanding on how these cards are going to work. Raising your hand for a judge is never easier when the judge is right there. Take a look at Teresia. Again, that's the one that's going to be setting a card. Now, when the Kashtira Unicorn attacks, it is going to go ahead and use its effect to rifle through the extra deck. We saw one Rexterm down. I feel like we might be seeing the extra. No, looks like a Psychic and Punisher is gone. So with one Rexterm down and the other already banished, looks like we're out of those. So we'll say goodbye to our Psychic and Punisher. Now Diplo's effect is going to activate. Oh man, oh, it hurts. Banishing the Dinomorphia Sonic does mean that you are opening yourself up for battle damage. Going to put that in defense mode. Certainly a strong card for sure. Now, Kashtira Scareclaw honestly is the way that this deck just deals with so many different types of Floodgate-style monsters and different variables along the way. Again, it can special summon its trail from the hand via its quick effect, very similar to Tillamet's Kashtira. But does some good work. So it looks like Deidrean's going to go ahead and pack up for that duel. Dinomorphia took the first one. Kashtira took the second. So we are going to a game 3. Take a look here at the deck. Just kind of figuring out what kind of options we have. Maybe banish that. Maybe get rid of this. The Solemn Judgments, he passed up on them. He's not getting to go first, so maybe not something he wants to put in his deck profile, at least for now. Take a look at the other options of the extra deck. Soul Release, kind of interesting. Harpy's Feather Duster, very powerful. Not invincible, obviously, because you do have that Dinomorphia Sonic, and it is a spell speed 3 counter trap. So you just say no. But how many times can you say no? That might be the determining factor in this duel. How in Deidrean is able to get into his Dinomorphia strategy before it gets flushed out by all of these spells and traps. So doing a quick little count of the side deck there. Looks like 15 to me. So now we can go ahead and shuffle up. Just do one last check before presenting that deck. Just making sure everything's right. Do have 3 minutes to side deck. You can't just take up the whole 3 minutes, but it's worth taking a few seconds to flip through the deck, make sure that you have everything you need. Oh, making a few last decisions. Just one last card. Counting things out. Got to put at least one back in. All right, so... Oh, maybe I guess the first part was 14, and we just caught that. So that should be 24 cards. Counting along here. Yeah, okay, so we're back to our numbers. Zone blockers were a really good idea. Again, you can always use a zone blocker, but it can't be a token card. Can't be confused with another game element of the game. Should say something like zone blocker, maybe have an X on it, etc. I love these sleeves, though, where judges are allowing it, so neat to see it. Having a good laugh over it. It's good to see that everybody's just having a good time. One win apiece on each side as we go into Game 3. All right, let's see how we start this party off. Deidrean going first. Kashtira choosing to go second. You can already see that Harpy's Feather Duster right there. I think we're just going to have that Feather Duster crash down. Dinomorphia does not get the first move based on how turn player priority works. So there's the Feather Duster. Solemn Judgment. Pay those half those life points. Bring us down to 4,000. Now we're going to see the Pot of Extravagance. Or Prosperity, excuse me. Banishing. Looked like 6 there. And there's the Ash Blossom. Not going to let any of that get through. And definitely easier to use the Ash Blossom on the Pot of Prosperity instead of any of these Kashtira monsters, which would penalize you for using it. Anything on 7 for Fenrir? Looks like no. So let's go into the deck. Took a second to grab all the cards. And we're grabbing a Kashtira Unicorn. Now, unless you already have the Birth, I think that might be Birth in the hand right there. Birth, normal summon feels pretty good. But it looks like before we even do that, we're going to go ahead and use the special summon effect of Kashtira Riseheart. Going to get locked into Xyz summons, but we haven't really accessed our extra deck that often. Brian just mostly relying on the Kashtira stuff. So Riseheart going to go ahead and banish a Kashtira card from the deck. Say goodbye to a Unicorn for now. Make that card level 7. And then, of course, banish 3 cards off the top of the deck face down. Oh, and it's summon limit time during the open game state. However, going to go ahead and attack with the Kashtira Fenrir. Banishing the summon limit face down. It is in the graveyard. It does need to be corrected there. But again, the summon limit is gone. We're also going to see the 1,500, leaving you down to an anime level 100 life points. But maybe you want 100 life points as Dinomorphia. Maybe this is exactly how the game plan was supposed to go. Looks like we're going to use the Dark Armed. You don't usually see Dark Armed, the Dark Armored Dragon of Destruction. But just banishing and saying no. Now you've got the Kashtira Birth. Going to go ahead and use that to normal summon Kashtira Fenrir. Remember that the Riseheart was special summoned via its own effect. Allows you to go ahead and use Unicorn's effect to grab the Kashtira Theosis. activate that, get another Kashtira Fenrir, because the attributes don't match, of course, wind and earth. They can use it, and Deidre's seen enough. He knows exactly what's going on. He was sitting on just one solemn judgment with 100 life points. Not enough. Brian very excited there. And don't go away, because we get to interview him and talk to him about how it felt to go against Dinomorphia and conquer with Kashtira. We'll be back in a moment. There we go. Okay, we've got our audio on now. Sorry about that, viewers at home. So, again, we're here with Bren, our winning duelist of round 3. So you're 3-0 now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask you, did you feel like you were going to be 3-0 in the middle of a Dinomorphia match?
No. It's like over when if you go second against that deck, like losing the die roll, it's kind of guaranteed you lose. I just got it because he bricked. That's really what it was.
And
the game 3.
That does happen. It does happen. Now, I will say the Cosmic Cyclones coming in seemed they were just at the right time, because getting hit with like Wannabe. Wannabe is a very interesting way for the Dinomorphia strategy to basically be able to show up on turn 1, set that trap card behind. So I assume the Cosmic Cyclones are there because they're just good format-wide,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
It's for Fire King, just hit the field spell. But a lot of them cut it and they play pure Snake Eyes. But it does come up against the back row matchups where they have target destruction protection.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, Kashtira, not everyone is a big fan of Kashtira. It's a great deck. It's a great deck. But why Kashtira instead of all these other interesting Phantom Nightmare decks? The Voiceless Voice, the Snake Eyes. What made you reach in the deck box and say, Kashtira time?
Well, I've always been a big fan of the Kashtira cards. Shifter's broken, especially this format.
Feels pretty good.
And I was playing it last format. That's why. I had all the cards. I was talking to my friend. His name's Castro. Shout out to him. And we were talking about what decks we could possibly play. And I was like, well, I have Kashtira. Let's just try it out. It worked out in locals, and it's been taken off. I didn't realize it was a really it's played like a lot.
Very cool, very cool. Well, you're almost there, right? You've got 3 rounds done, 3-0. You just got to get another 7 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! You feeling good about 7 more rounds of Kashtira play?
No, yeah, of course. Well, I mean, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm just really here to have fun, so okay. I'm just glad I can be in 3-0 for now.
Feeling pretty good, feeling pretty good. Not all of our 519 players can say the same. So, good luck at the rest of the tournament, man.
Okay, thank you. One more thing. Just shout out to my opponent. I mean, that was a crazy match. I mean, I don't know if you could hear the audio, but we were just having, like, laughs in there while we were playing. And it was my first time.
Audio, but we could definitely see that you guys were having a good time. All right, friends. Well, great sportsmanship, great duels, and we'll have more of those coming in when we start on round 4. Take care till then.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to check out Thank Rituals. Their link will be down in the description. Also, you guys should definitely join my Facebook group. I have a lot of really cool updates and a lot of really good information that you guys might want to keep up with about giveaways and whatnot on there. Also, please guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would like for you guys to turn on that bell notification as well. I would like to grow my percentage of subbed and not subbed from 20% higher. I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to like, comment, share. You already know, guys. Appreciate y'all very much, and I'll see y'all in the next video.